Hi parents, Mrs. Bannister here. One request that I've had, and I think it's an awesome one, is if I could possibly kind of translate the social, emotional, or counseling lesson for the kids into something that maybe parents could use as a method for supporting their kids too. So this is my first attempt at it. A little bit of history here. So today the kids are learning about kindness, but it's their third lesson on kindness. The first lesson was about how to recognize and practice kindness with others. The second part of our kindness, which was last week, was how to be kind to ourselves, because things aren't always easy. And then today's kindness is about how to be kind when we disagree with people, or how to understand someone else's perspective if it's not our own perspective. So I introduced that concept to them by letting them know that kindness isn't always easy. Sometimes it helps to understand another person's point of view. Doesn't mean I reiterated to them, it doesn't mean you have to agree with that point of view, but just understanding where someone else is coming from can be helpful. This is the visual and the words that have defined kindness through these three parts of the lesson that I've done with the students since for the past 3 weeks. So you can also take this slide and, talk about it with your kids. Ask them what kindness feels like for them, how they like to share kindness, how they like to receive kindness. That could be a really great family talk. I reviewed what we've done with kindness. In their previous lessons, they've learned how to color others with kindness. They've learned how to color themselves with kindness. And today they're going to learn how, when they're feeling sad, mad, or just upset because someone is disagreeing with them or not seeing their perspective, how they can lean into that with a little bit of kindness. We use the term perspective taking for that. Perspective taking is defined for elementary age students as trying to see another person's point of view, even if it is different than their idea. And I encourage them to believe that, you don't have to agree on all things with people, but we can be kind to each other no matter what. So then I asked them to consider this example. And what I did, I'll show you now, is okay, there we go. I held up a card and I asked them to tell me what they saw. I asked them to tell me what they saw. My hope is that they replied into the screen by saying, "A star, Mrs. Bannister, I see a star." And I said, "I see balloons." "Yeah, I see 3 balloons." "You see a star? How do you see a star?" "I don't see a star, I see balloons. I'm looking at 3 balloons." "How are you? I don't see a star." And then I showed them that I have a different perspective than they do. I'm looking at 3 balloons, and you're looking at a star. That doesn't mean that your perspective is not true. It is true, and my perspective is true also. So the concept of just making perspective very concrete, this is what perspective taking looks like. I see balloons, you see a star, yours is true and so is mine, and we can still be kind to each other, and we can still be friends. Sometimes these kind of more this just seems to be a very concrete way for our younger kids especially to understand the idea that I can have a different view than you, and that's true for me, and you can have a different view than me, and that's true for you. So you could try that at home. Next, I tried to make it even more, give them a couple more concrete examples. So I said, you might be a dog person, and your friend might be a cat person. oh, look at those that cute pup and cute kitten. I might be a dog person and you might be a cat person, and that's okay. We can be different. I can understand how much you love cats, and I can still love dogs more than anything. And just helping them kind of see that when it gets to a time of having to have discussions around things that might be a little bit less concrete than dogs and cats or stars and balloons, that it's okay to have two different viewpoints. That doesn't mean that, we need to argue about it or not be kind to each other. Then I brought up the old, living in a college town example of, you might be a Beavers fan and I might be a Stanford fan or a UCLA fan, and how that's okay that we have different viewpoints. Our experiences have brought us to appreciate different things, but that doesn't mean we can't be kind to each other. Then I reminded them that kindness is being true to who you are and what you believe. And this is where it gets a little bit more like ambivalent, or just like more general. Like if I started with this, they would have had a hard time understanding, like, what do you mean, like, true to who I am? What I mean is, like, true to you is that you love, dogs, and true to me is I love cats. Just kind of making that, like, more difficult concept to understand connect to something that's very concrete helps them. So kindness is being kind to yourself, is really honoring who you are and being able to understand that your belief isn't the only belief, and that we can see things differently than other people and we can still be friends. Like, I can like dogs, you can like cats, and we can still be best friends, right? You can see a star, I can see balloons, and we can still agree that we have a different perspective on things. And then I just said goodbye. I said, I hope that you can see how perspective taking shows up in your family with your grown-ups or with the people that you live with. And you can see how I asked them to just kind of identify that and see how recognizing that different viewpoint is an act of kindness, really, because then it doesn't need to be an argument, right? It's more of just an acknowledgement of, you have a different viewpoint than me, and that's okay. Essentially, it becomes like not their job to change someone else's mind, right? And just accepting and being centered in what they believe in, as well as allowing space and room for another person's beliefs. So that was it, parents. I hope that helps, and I would love your feedback. I've encouraged all of our students to spend time exploring my website, which is on the Jaguar staff directory under my name, and there's some parent resources there. And please email me, message me on Seesaw or Google Classroom. I'd be happy to, actually just email me. Seesaw and Google Classroom have become pretty student-centered, so it would be great if you did have questions or concerns to email me. I would love to hear from you. Okay, have a wonderful day and a great rest of your week. Goodbye.